Understanding autofocus modes on your DSLR. Now, new photographers should already by now understand the half press. You know, when you half press the shutter release button and it focuses onto your subject, and when you fully press the button, it takes the final photograph. So we're all familiar with autofocus. But did you know that there's many different types of autofocus modes? Now, in this video, I'm going to just concentrate on autofocus itself, in addition to single point autofocus and dynamic point autofocus, as these are the three autofocus modes which I use all the time. So let's begin. Well, let's have a look at the auto area focus. So auto area focus is basically the camera decides what to focus on. So if we have a look at this pretty girl here, we can see that the camera is making the decision to focus on the girl's face. Now that is cool. Autofocus mode really is cool. But this kind of mode can make mistakes. For example, have a look at this photograph here. Have you noticed the way that it is my gun, my pistol, that is in sharp focus, but my face is out of focus? Yes, it looks a good image, but guess what, guys? I wanted my face to be in focus and not my pistol. Now, this is where the auto area focus got it wrong, because it didn't know what I wanted to focus on. So instead, it focused on the first thing that it did find within the scene, or the closest thing it did find within the scene, which just happened to be my pistol. Now, this could have been me, you know, holding out a glass of water or a pint of beer saying cheers, and as you can imagine, it would have focused on the glass, the pint of beer, as opposed to my face. So the way we go about fixing this is we use a thing called single point focus. And what single point focus does is it is a mode that allows us to manually select focus points from all around the scene. So as you can see, going back to this pretty looking girl, as we can see, the focus point is in the center. Now let's say if we wanted to select a different focus point, such as the bridge in the background, then we would manually dial in order to highlight that focus point to focus on the bridge in the background. So in my case, with the pistol photograph, what I done was I used that manual focus point in order to focus for my face. So as you can understand now, the auto area focus will focus on the closest thing to the camera first and ignore everything else, whereas the single point autofocus will allow you to select from any of these focus points from around the entire area. Again, that is cool. Now let's move on to dynamic focus. So what is dynamic focus? Dynamic focus is exactly the same as single point autofocus in the context that it will allow you to move around the focus points within your scene. However, let's say your subject leaves that focus point and moves to another focus point. Well, what dynamic focus does is it will use the next focus points in order to keep the moving subject in focus. So basically, dynamic focus is used for moving subjects, and single point focus is used for still subjects. And auto area focus is just used for everyday channel photography. So there you go, guys. As you know, there's many different types now of autofocus, and it's now your job to study your DSLR's manual and get to grips of what types of autofocus modes it is that your DSLR has.